job being a member of the House of Representatives. It's a job being a governor. So we did it, and we got good results. Now, we also had 4 balanced budgets, and I paid $600 billion down on the national debt. Now, what happened then? I mean, these crocodile tears the other party is shedding over the deficit, it makes me want to gag. They had the White House for 12 years before I showed up. They quadrupled the debt. I paid $600 billion down on it. We would be out of debt as a country if they had just kept my budget till 2012, maybe the recession would take it out to 2015, out of debt for the first time since 1832. What did they do? They doubled the debt of the country again, before the financial meltdown. Before. So, you at least ought to have a little skepticism when they talk about their zealous desire to get rid of this deficit. They have a zealous desire, and they've been quite honest about it. If you get beyond the rhetoric and look at the specifics, I will give them this, and I compliment them. Their party put out a budget last week. They've been honest about it. Vote for us, and we'll keep Bill Clinton's tax cuts forever. And nobody will ever get a tax increase, but we'll keep increasing defense and veterans, and we'll pay the cost of rising Medicare, even as we turn more of it over to insurance companies. And we're going to cut everything else and balance the budget by 2020. You know what that would require us to do? Basically, eliminate the education budget, close the national parks. I think we ought to go around with a list of America's national parks and ask every one of these candidates to list the ones they want to close first, second, and third. You're laughing, but this is what they have advocated. Get rid of the Occupational Safety and Health Administration and the Environmental Protection Agency, which has helped you from time to time. Do away with the Energy Department that is doing more than we have ever had an Energy Department do to create the green jobs of the future, putting out these new funds for all the things that will build a green economy, including the remarkable work you're doing here in Connecticut. So that's what they want to do. And they say, and by the way, we want to repeal the financial oversight bill, which requires these big finance houses to have more capital and more prudent risk so they can go back and do what they did before. I think that's a bad idea.
Yep.
And I want all the students to understand. Most Americans don't know that Congress did this, and the president signed the bill that lowers the cost of student loans and for the first time ever allows anybody who gets a federal student loan to pay that loan back as a small, fixed percentage of your income for up to 20 years. So you never have to say, I can't go to college because of the loan. You never have to say, I've got to drop out because I'll never pay my loan back. Never again. You never even have to pay your job. It's just not on television yet. They want to repeal that. And they say they want to repeal health care, and the polls show that's popular, but that's because they've done a great job of reverse plastic surgery, because it takes 3 more years to implement it. And you can say whatever you want about something that's not real yet. Let me tell you what I mean. Let's just assume, I want to say, I can give you 5 amendments right now I wish Congress would adopt tomorrow, the health care bill. It needs to get better and better and better, but it's too complicated. You couldn't solve it all at once. You're going to have to work on it every single year. But what they did do, allowing families to keep their kids up to age 26 on the family policy, getting rid of having preventive and primary screenings for things like breast cancer, which might have saved my mother's life, and God only knows how many other women's lives. And providing subsidies so small businesses and individuals that are going bankrupt now, paying for health care, can buy it. That was a good deal. Look, I've been working on this now for a very long time, almost 20 years. I've spent a lot of time on it since I left office. Until you get everybody covered, you can't bring the cost down. do I favor other changes? Yeah, I can give you 5 changes that would save a lot more money, and the Congress will get around it. That is not why the Republicans want to repeal the health care bill. They want to repeal the health care bill because, among other things, there's this little line in the health care bill that says from now on, 85 cents of every dollar you pay in health insurance has to go to health care, not profits. Yeah. There's a reason for this. And you ought to care about this if you've got the best, cheapest health care policy in America. You ought to care. You know why? Forget about, suppose you have no concern for all these things I just mentioned. You ought to care about it for economics. You want America to be globally competitive? You want to bring back the American dream? Are you upset that median family income after inflation was $2,000 lower than the day I left office, the day before the financial meltdown? Because we only had 2.5 million jobs instead of the 22.7 million in our 8 years. Do you know one reason nobody got a pay increase? Because after inflation, health care costs doubled while nobody was getting jobs, and employers were putting their profits into paying for the health care bill instead of giving their workers pay raises. That's one big reason. Why? Because listen, Hillary tells me I'm on a fool's errand here. We've always been frustrated that no one cares about comparative statistics unless it's something important like football. I say that, I'm a football nut, so I know what's going to happen on Monday, don't you? For all these college games, coaches are going to look at the game film. They're going to know the statistics, going to see what they did right and what they did wrong. Then they're going to look at their opponent's game film and see what they did right and what they did wrong. Then they're going to devise a strategy based on the evidence. But if it's something really insignificant like economics and politics in your whole life, how can we be bothered to do that? But I'm going to try this one more time. The United States of America spends 17.2% of our income on health care. No other big rich country spends more than 10.5% of their income. In the international rankings of health outcomes and quality, every year, normally Germany and France swap off for first and second place. They spend 10% of their income. The gap is $1 trillion every year. Now, the people making that trillion, some of them are loath to give it up. Do we have a higher average life expectancy than these other rich countries? No, ours is the lowest. Do we have a lower infant mortality rate? No, ours is the highest and rising. The only wealthy country in the world where the infant mortality rate is rising. We are not. Why? Because we are the only country with an advanced economy on the face of the earth that lets the insurance company tail wag the healthcare dog.